What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lukewarm Reviews. I'm here with my first year-end 2017 video. This one's going to be about music. I'm going to do my top 10 favorite albums, and then also a couple little honorable mentions and stuff. Two things real quick before I get started. I will concede that this list is not exhaustive at all. I like music a lot, but I always have a lot of trouble keeping up with the new stuff just because I find it really overwhelming. That was one of the reasons I decided to start this channel and to do music reviews was I thought it would help me keep up with the new music that I like. So, but I started kind of late this year, so I'm sure that I missed a lot of stuff in the first half of the year. Hopefully I'll do better next year. So think of this not as a really comprehensive list of all the music of 2017, but just like if you're looking for some new stuff that you wanted to check out, what I've got here. You might like it. Second thing real quick, I want to give a shout out to my boys at Shelter Sound. These are a bunch of guys that I went to college with, good buddies of mine. They run an Instagram and also a podcast called Shelter Sound, and a lot of the albums on this list right here I hadn't even really checked out until I saw it on their top 20 of 2017 list. So really great guys. They're really funny, really insightful, and smart about music. Go give them a follow on Instagram and check out the podcast Shelter Sound. They're awesome. So without further ado, let's get into it. The music of 2017. I'm going to start with just a couple of honorable mentions, stuff that didn't quite make the list. Several of these things, it's just because I didn't have time to listen to the whole album as much as I wanted to. So some of these might have made it to the list if I had had more time with them. Some of them might not. But we'll start with just a couple of rap honorable mentions. Brockhampton put out a bunch of stuff this year. This guy is really different, really interesting if you're looking for some kind of out there rap sounds. I'm not totally in love with everything I've heard from him, but it's definitely different and cool. Go check out Brockhampton. Jay-Z, obviously, with 444, and Tyler, the Creator, with Flower Boy. These are both really solid albums. Flower Boy, in particular, just barely missed the top 10. I love this album, love what Tyler's doing a lot. But, yeah, go check those out. Moving right along with a little bit of rock and or pop stuff. Phoenix had a new album with Ti Amo. Pretty standard Phoenix fare. I like what they're going. It's solid. Y with Moline. Again, Y just doing their Y thing. Good album. A bunch of these are going to be, they didn't quite make the top 10 maybe because it's a band that I've been listening to for a couple of years and I don't really see them doing anything new, but it's still totally solid music. Go check it out. Portugal the Man with Woodstock. This album was it fell a little bit flat for me. I understand what they were doing and they were successful to some degree. A lot of the tracks on this album were really popular. So I think Portugal the Man was heading in the direction of the mainstream just a tiny bit to try and get a larger audience, and they succeeded in that. Alt J with Relaxer. I love Alt J a lot, and Awesome Wave is one of my favorite albums, but his vocal sound has always been a little bit strange. Everybody knows that, but I feel like in this album they were kind of leaning into it even a little bit. So not in love with the vocals on this album, but still, all in all, really cool sounds. I like Alt J. Check out Relaxer. Thundercat with Drunk, really amazing funk album. Sylvan Esso with What Now. This was another one that barely missed the top 10. I like this album a whole lot. Lots of really cool jams going on. Bleachers with Gone Now. This is a good, fun pop album. Dune Rats with The Kids Will Know It's Bullshit. Dune Rats are a kind of Matt and Kim sounding duo, but definitely straying towards the punk side. This album in particular gets really punky. It's a little bit one note for me, but it's really fun. Go check it out, especially if you haven't heard of Dune Rats. Sigrid, I want to talk about her really quick. She probably would have been in the top 10, but she hasn't released a full album yet. She just has one EP that she put out earlier this year, and then a bunch of acoustic versions and remixes and stuff of the songs that she's already put out. She kind of exploded, so a lot of you probably already know who she is, but she's just this really awesome singer. She put out some really cool pop jams on this album. Don't Kill My Vibe, Fake Friends, just really cool songs. Go check out Sigrid. My fiance Katie introduced me to her. She's fantastic. Also, shout out to Hazel English. I had never heard of her before, but she's got a couple albums. She put out a new one this year called Just Give In / Never Going Home. Or is Hazel English the new one? I'm not sure. I think she's actually new. I think this is her first record. She's really awesome. This was another one very close to making the top 10. just a kind of singer-songwriter pop stuff, but with a lot of really cool vapory effects put in there. I'm really into this chick. Her song "I'm Fine" is one of my favorite single songs of the year. It's amazing. Go check out Hazel English. Also, Kieran J. Callanan. This guy is confusing to me. This is a very strange singer-songwriter. His new album, Bravado, lots of the tracks are dynamite, really cool pop tunes. Lots of them are very strange. He's this kind of weird like meme guy who became a little more popular because of that, and now he's, I admire him for doing his thing. And like I said, some of the tracks on Bravado are dynamite. They're awesome. So if you're looking for something really different, go check out Kieran J. Callanan. Just a couple more honorable mentions. I got to talk about some folk stuff because that's my favorite genre. I talked about it on my last video, The Staves with White Music, The Way Is Red. Almost made it on the top 10, but again, I had to think about for my top 10 list just stuff that I will listen to again and again. And The Way Is Red is a gorgeous, gorgeous album, but I don't see it having that much re-listen value. Moving on, Sun Kil Moon. Common as Light and Love Are Red Valleys of Blood, the new Sun Kil Moon album. Gotta be honest, I have not made it all the way through this album yet because there's 16 tracks on it and they're all like at least 7 minutes long. This is a monster, this record. It's good. It's got that classic kind of storytelling that Sun Kil Moon is known for. Again, I feel like he's sort of leaning into the vocal stylings a little bit. It's not my favorite vocally, and it's a little bit less folksy also. There's a lot more rock influences here. But it's good. Go check it out, Sun Kil Moon. Hope to be making my way through the rest of that album soon. Fleet Foxes had a new album with Crack Up, just doing their Fleet Foxes thing. It's really good. Go check it out. Feist had a new album with Pleasure. Haven't made it all the way through this one either, but I love Feist. Go listen to that. Hooray for the Riff Raff with The Navigator. This is a fun folk album. Blitz and Trapper, I made a video about this one. Wild and Reckless, cool folk rock album. Go check it out. It's pretty solid. Also want to give a shout out to Chris Thile with his album Thanks for Listening. This album isn't amazing, but it's a nice, fun folk piece. Chris Thile is one of the frontmen of Nickel Creek, and this is one of his first solo records. It's really cool, especially if you enjoy his voice, which I really do. Go check out Thanks for Listening by Chris Thile. Also, one more quick shout out to, I'm a big fan of Pentatonics. I don't really listen to them like recreationally, like in the car or anything, but I think the acapella is really cool. I think Pentatonics is like, or was like the best in the game. But their bass left the group this year. His name is Avi, or Avriel, I guess is his full name, and he started his own group called Avriel and the Sequoias. They just put out an EP called Sage and Stone, and it's solid. It's a little bit poppy and boppy, but it's some cool folk stuff, and I'm liking it. Looking forward to more from Avriel and the Sequoias. Now, let's get to my top 10. So that's it for the honorable mentions. Go check out some of that stuff if you haven't heard of it. I tried to separate it into like genres depending upon what you're looking for. So now we're gonna go into my top 10. Starting at number 10, we have Vince Staples with Big Fish Theory. As far as I'm concerned, this album is basically just an album of dope beats, which was surprising from Vince. Vince Staples is one of the most articulate and well-spoken rappers out there. His last project, an EP called Prima Donna, in particularly blew my mind. It's so lyrically sophisticated and deep and incredible. And then with Big Fish Theory, I kind of feel like he went a different direction. But I still love it. I love the tenor of his voice. I love his flow. And I just can't get enough of the beats on this thing. This is one that all year I've been bumping in my car over and over again. So number 10, Vince Staples with Big Fish Theory. Number 9, this is one that surprised me a lot. Number 9 is Dispatch with America Location 12. If you were in a church youth group between the years of 2002 to approximately 2010, then you know Dispatch. They were like my favorite band in the 9th grade. They're just kind of a cool, like, folksy, kind of flip-flops on the beach, kind of acoustic jam band. And they're good. Their first 3 albums in particular are really excellent just because they're doing that thing. But then there was this whole long hiatus that they took, and everyone thought they were broken up and kind of done forever. But then they came back a couple of years ago. I didn't even really know about this. They came back with an album, I think in 2015 or 2014, I'm not sure. But I didn't listen to that one just because they weren't really on my radar at the time. But this year I came across this album, America Location 12, and I was like, check it out. Assuming that it would be the same kind of thing from all those years ago. But it's not. This is a really good album. They've evolved in a lot of ways. It's still a lot of kind of folksy jams, but there's really cool stuff going on here. There's almost some kind of psychedelic influences, like Simon and Garfunkel-y sounds that I'm really into. And there's a good variety. There's a lot of different stuff. Some of the songs on the back half of the album really do sound like they're old stuff for those old fans out there. But there's a lot of new stuff here. Great lyricism, great vocals. I just really liked this album more than I was expecting to. It's sophisticated and it's good. Go check out America Location 12 by Dispatch, my number 9. Number 8 is going to be Lucy Rose with Something's Changing. This is another one that my fiance Katie showed me. Lucy Rose has a couple of albums out there. She came out with this new one this year. I don't know a whole lot about her, but this album I've been listening to a lot recently. There's a lot of really cool kind of tender singer-songwritery pop sounds, but a lot of them are really dark and moody, very nice orchestrations and vocals. Not much to say about it, but definitely go check it out. Number 8, Lucy Rose with Something's Changing. My number 7 pick is Japandroids with Near to the Wild Heart of Life. I've been listening to Japandroids since high school, and I love that in a way their sound has evolved along with, I feel like, a lot of their fans, because when we were in high school they were making angsty songs about high school problems, and now that we're young adults they're making angsty songs about young adult problems. There's a lot in here that talks about money and stuff like that, and I just really have enjoyed following along with them. This album is great to blast in the car if you're feeling angry or frustrated with anything in your life. Go check it out. Japandroids, Near to the Wild Heart of Life, number 7. My number 6 is going to be Young Lean with Stranger. I talked about this in my last video. Love this album. Love it. And I've been listening to it a lot more ever since then. I briefly mentioned this in the video, but his last album, Frost God, was okay, but fell a little flat for me. And I don't re-listen to it. This one, Stranger, lots of these tracks are already on some of my playlists on my phone. I just keep bumping it. It's really good. Cool vapor production. Go check out Young Lean with Stranger. Alright guys, top 5. This is where the heavy hitters come in. All 5 of these albums are pretty incredible. So if you haven't heard any of these 5, I can't recommend enough. Go check them out. Number 5 is going to be Kendrick Lamar with Damn. I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you've heard Damn. But it's just so good. It's so re-listenable. Every single song is a hit. I believe the week after this album came out, every track on the album was on the Billboard Top 100. I think I read that somewhere. I just can't get enough of it. Kendrick is one of the best out there. He has the best music videos. He knows how to market himself. He's so socially conscious, so well-spoken. His vocals are incredible. So, I'm sure you've already listened to it, but if you haven't, because you've been living under a rock, go listen to Damn by Kendrick Lamar. It's my number 5. Number 4, this might surprise some people. Number 4 is going to be the Mountain Goats with Goths. I have said for many years that the Mountain Goats are my favorite band. I don't say that with such certainty anymore, but they're definitely one of my favorites, and probably the band that I've been listening to the longest and most consistently. I've been listening to them since I was in 9th grade, I think. And John knocked it out of the park with this one. Goths is very different. He in the album liner, I think he put something like no guitars. There's no guitars on this album, and it's really cool. It's like a callback to in the early 90s when emo goth bands would put no synths on like the album liners of their records. So yeah, another concept album that John has just drenched in the culture about which he is singing. It's very cool, very kind of jazzy sounds on a lot of these tracks. The 2 singles that he put out are actually like, I'm not crazy about them, so I went into this album with some trepidation, but the rest of the album is super, super solid. Amazing storytelling and lyricism as always from John Darnielle, the best in the game. So that's my number 4, The Mountain Goats with Goths. Number 3 is gonna be Moses Sumney with Aromanticism. I only recently got to this album. Moses Sumney is someone I've been kind of listening to for a couple of years, but I didn't know he put out a new album this year until recently. I got into it and I just can't stop. This album is crazy good. Moses Sumney has got to be one of my favorite vocalists out there, period. His voice has so much character, has so much depth and range as well. He really, really goes through so many different styles in this album. There's jazzy sounds, there's funky sounds. There's one song that the lyrics of the entire song just over and over are, I'm not trying to go to bed with you, I just want to make out in the car. And it's an amazing, like, funky, sexy jam. It's all so dreamy and just, it's so good. I can't say enough about it. This is one I feel like a lot of people may not have listened to. If you haven't, go check it out. Moses Sumney with Aromanticism. It's my number 3. Now my last 2, my number 2 and my number 1, probably won't come as surprises. I have made videos about both of these before, so this will be brief. My number 2 is Everything Everything with A Fever Dream. When this song came out, or when this album came out, I mean, I listened to nothing else for like a month. It's unbelievable. It's so catchy. It's ridiculously catchy. The lyrics are good. Every track is solid. You can listen to it front to back. Go watch my video if you haven't on Everything Everything, A Fever Dream. That's my number 2. And my number 1 album, this should come as no surprise to anyone if you've watched all of my videos, because I think I said this in the video for it, is Baths with Romoplasm. This album is crazy. I waited years for it. I'm a big fan of Baths, and he is moving forward and taking steps forward in every conceivable way. It's a lyrical masterpiece. It is varied and has all sorts of different production elements to it. It's all electronica, but there's bangers and slow songs and sensitive songs, and it's all so good. I can't say enough about it. Yeoman, the first track on the album, is my favorite song of the year. If you haven't heard it, go watch my video and then listen to Romoplasm by Baths. That is my number 1. So that's it, guys. That's what I thought of the music of 2017. What do you think? Give me your list. Tell me anything that I missed, anything significant. Also, go check out my boys at Shelter Sound. Go give them a follow on Instagram and tell them that Lukewarm Reviews sent you. That's it for now, guys. I will be back soon with a bunch of videos about 2017 movies. I'm going to make a couple. I think I'm going to make like one about the performances that I liked, one about all the films that I liked, and then one maybe kind of like superlatives. I usually make lists like that. So look out for those soon. I'm going on vacation next week, so I'll be gone for a sec, but I'll be back probably late January. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.